Hello. Hey, welcome to Amanda Panda Teacher Live. I am so excited to be with you live today, and I'm in a little bit of a mess because I wanted to show you what the background looks like and how my classroom setup is for this interview of ManyCam and me. This is my story about how I am a teacher that uses ManyCam. So I am so excited to be with you. It is such a wonderful opportunity to share with you and tell you about how I use ManyCam. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Everything's going well. If you're here, I'd love to hear from you in the chat box. It's wonderful to be with you today. So let's get started and start our interview. Today, I'm telling you my story of how I use ManyCam and how I got started. So my device, I actually have two devices and a spare backup. I'll tell you about all of them. I have a desktop computer. It is an HP Pavilion. It is new. I've only had it for a couple of months. It sits here on my desk in my working classroom and online teaching office. It is an i7 processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It does not have a dedicated graphics card inside, though that is something I can add. The slots are all expandable, having a desktop. What I like about a desktop versus a laptop is there are so many more USB connections inside of this desktop tower. Connected to this desktop, I have a 19-inch monitor. It is an Acer 19-inch. I spent about $100 for a nice monitor. Works good for me. I have an external webcam. It is called Amcrest. It is a webcam that is external, about $40. So these are the components of my setup device at my desk. I also have a traveling setup, which is an Asus Chrome or Asus computer gaming laptop. This has an i7 processor, 16 megabits of RAM, but it is a couple years old. I've had it for a little bit of time, so it's not new like the one sitting on my desktop. When I travel and teach, I take green screen with me. I'm actually about to take it down and grab my travel bag to go. I have a third device. This is an iPad. This iPad I use in my online teaching classroom. It is actually an old dinosaur. It is an iPad from 10 years ago my mom gave to me. It still works and it is just the minimum specs for my online teaching classroom. Just in case I have an emergency, it's my backup. And I have to keep this words on it. Keep it plugged in because it's so old. The battery charge has no charge. And so in a pinch, if I need to get into my online classroom, I can jump on this external iPad. A used iPad is a great option for an extra way to get onto my online teaching classroom. I teach for VIP Kid Online, so that's my only teaching job, and an iPad is a great job. It's a great thing to have. So I got three devices. What about internet? My internet connection is wired. I wire from my router downstairs all the way up into my office. I actually run a 100-foot cord that keeps me hardwired to my internet, as well as I have an internet plan that is the next to the top level of my plan. I pay more money from my internet company. I don't go with the basic plan. And when I'm teaching online is very early in the morning, as well as I kick everybody off of my internet when I'm working and using it. I commonly get pings of about 20. Sometimes in the morning, I see pings of 3 or 4, and I get upload speeds and download speeds of a couple hundred. So the minimum specifications for my online teaching company are to have 25 upload and download and pings as low as you can go. So there is my awesome, fabulous technology setup. Did I have any concerns getting started with ManyCam when I began? Oh my goodness. Actually, I did. My first online teaching device was an i5 processor, fourth generation, and I would never ever have added ManyCam to that device to try to use it. That device is so slow and not able to process. Oftentimes, the classroom would freeze, and I would have this little cycling signal that goes around, 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 around. I'm going to link in the description for this video a link to a YouTube video I made all about devices and explain what the specifications you need are. So I did not have a good device at first, and I did not install ManyCam until I got the upgrade of my gaming computer. Have I ever had ManyCam fail? All the time. Sometimes my green screen lighting is off. Sometimes I don't use ManyCam. I just switch to my online teaching classroom. Sometimes ManyCam, after an update on my computer, gives me error messages. If it ever is, I just log out and I just use my regular external camera in class that day. So I don't have to rely on it. Do I have a favorite ManyCam moment? Oh, during Chinese New Year, I used a ManyCam reward with my students. It was a reward that had the dino in Chinese New Year. He brought out the dollars for the red envelopes. It was just charming to see my students' faces and excitement as they got the hung bao or the red envelopes. Do I use Google Slides? Yes, I do use Google Slides. I use Google Slides in a couple ways. I use them as rewards. So I display and show them in the background behind me in a new preset in ManyCam. I also use Google Slides as a teaching tool. I put behind me the Google Slides and I will flip the slides to re-teach the vocabulary words that we are learning. And then third, I use Google Slides in my business. If you've watched any videos on my channel, you could see that I use Google Slides all the time. I am a huge Slides fan, and I use them all the time in my classroom. I use ManyCam in my recording. I record using ManyCam. I go live with ManyCam. I'm using it right now to put my little Amanda Panda teacher up here. I use ManyCam throughout all the work that I'm doing and all of the activities in my small business. Oh, I have a visitor. Let's see. I only teach VIP Kid ESL online, but I do teach teachers technology in courses. So I use ManyCam to show different zoomed in views of different places in a tool I'm teaching. So I do that with in Zoom. So I use ManyCam in Zoom. I use ManyCam in the VIP Kid classroom, both at the same time. What feature? Oh, honey. What feature of ManyCam could I not live without? I really could not live without this feature, and I will show it on the screen. So if you see right now, this is my normal view, what it would be in my online teaching classroom. I use the zoom in and out so much to get myself positioned in just the right place. If I had my green screen over here in the right way, I could zoom in. I am a big zoom user. I also use the coloration, color adjustment. So as I teach in the daytime, my green screen gets all wonky, makes my face reddish. I actually often change the colors. Ooh, there I am. Very brightness. I change the brightness to improve my lights a bit. So I do all kinds of things with the tool that I use, and I just put it back to normal. So I like it a little bit like this, and then there we go. That's me. So I am a big ManyCam user. I use it for business, my small business, as well as I use it all the time in my online teaching classroom. What feature? Oh, if I had advice to give people getting started using ManyCam, my number one advice is to think about your device. Consider what device you have. Make sure that your device is one that is compatible and able to run it. The disasters that you read online in Facebook groups or postings are people who are trying to run ManyCam on devices that are not able to handle it. I would never put ManyCam on an i5 older processor like the 5th generation that I have in PC land. I would never run ManyCam on anything less than 8 megabytes of RAM. In Mac world, I would never run ManyCam on anything less than a 3-year or newer Mac. Remember, Macs can be updated and they last for forever, but they weren't built 6 years ago for the demands of today. Even though they run beautifully and Macs live and they never die, it doesn't mean that they can handle the demands of the online teaching classroom. Matter of fact, Mac has developed their own chip inside to improve performance for the digital world we're living in, where we're video streaming online, and that's called an M1 chip. I would not run ManyCam on anything less than a 3-year-old Mac. Anything older than that, and it is way too old and not going to be successful. Okay, so I came on today live to answer and tell you my story of ManyCam. I was an ESL online teacher. I heard about ManyCam and I decided to buy it. It actually sat on my computer for a whole year because I couldn't figure out how to use it. I didn't know what to do and I didn't sit down to play and figure it out. So I decided after about a year of hanging on to it that I would go through and figure out this tool. I'm a techie person. I gave myself a lot of time. I poked all around and watched every YouTube video I possibly could until I got everything working and running. So now I actually train teachers to get them from 0 to 360 in a much faster way. I teach teachers to use ManyCam in 6 lessons or 6 modules because it is definitely a plan you need step by step. So I wanted to show you how I travel and use ManyCam with me. This is my green screen backup. So I'm going to jump to my green screen. It is on a rack. It is one of those luggage cart racks. And so I'm taking off my green screen. I got these clips and I'm packing this piece up to take with me when I go traveling. And I will take my gaming laptop and my backup, and I will take this bag. And that's it. So I will keep all the parts together, take my green screen, and I use ManyCam on the go. I don't need to bring my classroom with props or resources. I travel really light with just one bag with all my tools. Inside this bag, I have a little rah-rah cheerleader. I have lights to connect just in case. I will put in my whiteboard inside there and my grammar teaching whiteboard because I use those two all the time. So these two will go in. I'll put in a little puppet, a little travel size, and then Meg and Mike on popsicle sticks that are tiny, and that's it. So it's this and it's laptop and green screen, and then I just roll with it and can teach anywhere. So it's awesome to be with you and tell you in this video, show you a little background of my setup and how it looks in my online teaching classroom. I am a big ManyCam fan, a ManyCam teacher and helper to support teachers. I welcome you to join my group for support. It is called ManyCam Kindergarten. If you're not in it, find it on Facebook. We'd love to have you. I also support teachers teaching online in a new group called Online Teaching Made Easy. I'd love to see you in both of those groups, and I will link in the description box that video that tells about devices. I have a guide to help you get started with ManyCam. It's available in the description too. So grab that and then let me know how you're using ManyCam in your online classroom. Here's my ManyCam story. See you in the next video.